What if you could stop chasing leads and start attracting them to you instead? What if you could stop skipping around from new method of lead generation, watching every single webinar possible, attending every single training from your brokerage and the title reps that are coming to you? I'm going to share how our team is generating high quality leads with long form content and how I can help you do the same. As we get started, I just want to share a little bit about my background as a real estate agent. So I have been licensed for 8 years now. And if you haven't watched my video about all of the mistakes that I made that I would hope that you could avoid video, I want you to watch that. I'm going to link it up here. Go watch that. And I share a lot of mistakes I made early on in my business because I was super young. I was 23 when I got licensed. I really did not have a good understanding of the real estate industry and what lead generation would actually look like. I was told a lot of cold outreach methods, even methods that were, I would still consider cold outreach to my sphere, but my sphere didn't really know me as a real estate agent. I was 23. They were around the same age, and most of them not really in a position to buy. They were just getting started in their careers, and it was something where I was trying anything and everything my brokerage was telling me to do, and it wasn't working. The only thing that was working was the content that I was doing that they actually told me wouldn't work in the industry. I also ended up doing a very expensive coaching program a couple of years later with my mom, who I'm now in business with. And learned a lot from that, but it was still a lot of chasing. It was a lot of influencer type marketing. It was a lot of marketing that just didn't really seem to align. It wasn't attracting people who were actually looking for real estate services. They weren't looking for real estate information or to actually do anything. And so, through a lot of trial and error, I in the background had been doing this long form evergreen content. But everybody kept telling me like social media is where it's at. You've got to be doing the social media. You've got to be creating the personal brand. You've got to be doing, trying to chase this this virality and growing your following, right? And so I got really caught up in all of the wrong metrics and methods, and it just got me to a breaking point. I knew the power of website content and SEO. I knew what YouTube could do, but I still wasn't bought in to this idea for some reason because everybody in the industry for the most part was not talking about these methods. And many people had told me they don't work, they won't work. So I just got to this point where I was just so burnt out from creating short form content, trying to be entertainment content online. And I was burnt out. It was, after I had my second son, I had 2 boys in 2 years, or almost exactly 2 years apart from each other. And I just was burnt out. I was tired. And I still didn't have the real estate business that I want. I was having to accept clients that I did not enjoy working with because I was trying to make money, and they weren't my ideal clients. And something had to change. So here's what changed. So a couple of years ago, I had been dabbling with YouTube. I had, heard from a couple of agents across the country how powerful it was, and I believed in it. And, I have historically done pretty well with video. Not that I'm the best at the tech side of things, but just hopping on camera, talking about what I'm doing in real estate, talking about, situations I'm running into with clients or how we helped a client or options for people in my area, right? And on social media, that was helpful until I exhausted my sphere for the most part. Pretty much anybody that I had a close relationship with that was moving, that didn't already have another agent established, had already used me. And I kind of ended up just maxing out my sphere, and anything that would come from them would be a repeat transaction or referral. but that was a little bit too unreliable for me to know what was coming next. So we decided to really go all in on YouTube and invest a lot of time. Now, I'm going to have to make a different video about all of the mistakes that we made when it came to starting YouTube for our real estate team. But thankfully, we did some things right. And, we spent a lot of time and energy. And again, it was something that was requiring too much of us. The biggest thing that I've learned in my real estate career is that if you are wanting to do content marketing, you still have to be a real estate agent. So you still have to leave room to have conversations with clients, meet clients, sell them homes, do the transaction, right? But we made a lot of mistakes and we decided, I decided I needed to take a step back from real estate. I didn't know if it was going to be permanent. I didn't know if it was going to be long-term, but that's what I did. And the amazing thing is that YouTube started and we had this idea of we started very broad. We started kind of speaking to everybody in the Phoenix area, following the typical advice, but we did a couple of niche videos. And those niche videos were the ones that, before I took my break, were the ones bringing in leads, views, subscribers, all of that. But when I took my break, I still kept watching the YouTube channel. And something amazing started happening. And that was that we weren't posting new content to the YouTube channel, but the YouTube channel was growing. And it was growing based on our niche YouTube videos. And, I took my break. I started my real estate marketing membership where I teach, content marketing to agents. And I was doing marketing work for some other agents in my office, one-to-one done-for-you services. And I kept watching our YouTube channels, watching the analytics. And, I just kept feeling like, in the last video I talked about mistakes. I feel like we're 5 feet from gold or 3 feet from gold, whatever the saying is right now. And I think we need to go back to this and revisit, approach it slightly different. And so we made the decision to do that. I made the decision to come back and focus a little bit more on real estate, start creating more content for the channel. And something crazy happened as soon as we made that decision. And this must be a God thing. I'm a believer. And we started getting high quality inbound leads to us. Now, we had some leads come from YouTube before. They didn't pan out. They were people moving here to our military base that were considering buying versus living on base or doing, the base rental housing that's down the street. It didn't pan out. And that is fine. But what ended up happening is that our other niche videos for 55 plus started bringing in high quality inbound leads. And when I just want to tell you, we've had 3 potential new clients come in for the next year from YouTube. Once we made that decision that we were going to go back to it, approach it differently. Now, the reason that this content is working, one, is it speaks to a very specific situation. A lot of people are going to tell you on YouTube to go really broad, talk about your city, talk about your area. But I say in marketing, when you're speaking to everybody, you're speaking to nobody. And that is actually very true. And it's very hard to niche down. It's very hard to choose a specialty, especially when you're just getting started. But what is really important is that I think that you should speak to specific communities in a specific type of real estate scenario. That way, somebody knows exactly who the video is for. The reason this works is combined with our SEO strategies, Google and YouTube started picking up the videos even more. And we're seeing traffic from Google, YouTube, and Pinterest, because I did pin to our website and our YouTube content on Pinterest. And the Time actually let those season more, and they started getting picked up and recommended all across YouTube, on Google, and it is bringing people to us who are seeing these very, very niche specific videos come to us and say, hey, this is, I saw your videos. I really want to work with you guys. Here's my scenario. Here's my budget. Here's when I'm coming. Can we meet? Inbound lead generation, organic inbound lead generation is something that every single real estate agent typically wants. But it's really amazing when your content is working for you that you created 6 months, 12 months, 2 years ago, and it's working for you. It's bringing you inbound leads. And that is very scalable because any new content that we create is just going to add on to that. And so that is why this is something that I am so serious about helping agents implement into their own businesses now, because it is making a huge difference. And also, depending on your situation, as a mom of little kids who is trying to have them home more while they're little before they're in school. My youngest is not in school yet. It is important for me not to be spending hours a day cold calling. I'm not going to go out door knocking as a woman. It's not safe. I've done it before. I won't do it again. I don't want to be doing a bunch of random open houses personally. I did a ton my first couple of years in real estate, especially my first year. And also just feel really uncomfortable sitting in an open house by myself, or, just hoping that nothing bad comes when you're just marketing yourself alone in these houses. So for me, having people that come to you that I'm not having to chase down and feel like I'm having to pressure them to transact in real estate is very scalable for me, because it means that the more content that you put out with these evergreen content strategies, using SEO, using these different platforms like Google, YouTube, and Pinterest, it means that when you're creating more content, you're building up, and it's a compound effect, and it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. And that is something very scalable, where it allows you freedom in your real estate business and in your life. So now that you know a little bit about how this strategy works and what it looks like in a practical sense, let's put a plan into place for your real estate business. In the next video, I'm going to be walking you through step by step to build a roadmap to create a lead generating content strategy and show you how I can help you inside of my membership, the Breakout Agent.